Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Dusty Thunder Podcast. We have with us again, Bearded Thunder. Oh my God, it's Bearded Thunder!
Yo, what's
Welcome, brother.
Howdy, how
It's
you
good
doing?
to have you again.
It's always good to be here. It's good to be anywhere other than. Oh yeah, we're rocking the product.
He's got the wise ass, and I got the Bigfoot sighting going on here. This is early, which is different for podcast recording. Do you remember what time of day did we do your last?
Oh, it was
one?
like 11 o'clock.
Oh, so it was still morning.
No, like PM.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
it was a late night session.
That's my jam.
Yeah, which works out pretty okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an early morning guy, but
Yeah. You're a morning bird. What time do you typically get rocking and rolling?
the goal is to be out the door before 6. Like the alarm generally goes up about 4:30. Sometimes you get up and you come out by 5. You get your coffee, you get you going, shower, hit the floor, go.
This seems very productive.
It generally is pretty productive, but then I get to like that 3-4 o'clock and I'm like, man, a nap would be really great.
Yep. So I sometimes
I'm mastering the power nap, the 20 minutes.
Have you done the pencil trick yet?
No, I've not. I'm afraid to because I'm like I'm just gonna know I'm just sleep deprived as is. So I don't need affirmation of being lack of sleep. I know that.
Yeah, I would try the pencil trick. The pencil trick, I can't remember who came up with it, but the power nap thing is you hold a pencil like in your hand, and when you finally fall asleep, your hand lets go of the pencil, and the pencil hitting the floor wakes you up. So that's like the optimal power nap. I would have some kind of dream in that amount of time and stab myself in the eye with that pencil. Yes,
Involuntary jerk.
I would John Wick myself.
Why would I want to fall asleep just to immediately wake up? That seems kind of counterintuitive.
Well, for
if I'm on a nap, I'm a nap.
What is the science behind a power nap, though? I think that's worth exploring. Like, what is the optimal amount of time for a true power nap? Is it
8 or 20 minutes? If you can sleep for 20 minutes, you wake up refreshed. More than that, most people, I mean, average. Most people, you talk that hour, 2 hour nap and you're sleeping, but that hour, 2 hour nap, you wake up, hey, where am I at?
Yep.
What's going on? The 20 minutes, my little watch goes off and I wake up and I feel refreshed versus
use the watch.
Yeah.
So I am in a love-hate relationship with naps right now because sometimes I'll have night shift stuff that I need to do, or I'll have like the Sunday Night Live or something, and I'll be like, man, I've got to get 30 minutes in. I'll end up napping for like an hour, and then it's detrimental, right? Then I come in and I'm like, that did me harm.
Brain
I feel
fog,
worse.
yeah.
Yes. So now it's like I'm afraid to attempt the nap because if I end up, there's too much risk involved, right?
Yeah.
It's like drinking a beer. I'm like, I don't drink a beer because I don't want to pay the cost that comes after the fun part of drinking that beer. I don't
What, like passing out and locking your kids outside or
no.
We don't do that thing.
That story was terrible. Terrible. No, I mean feeling like shit the next day. So for a nap, it's like feeling like shit after is counterintuitive. So I go through phases where I'm like, no, just no, because I know I don't.
So that's why you don't drink
shit.
beer. I've been teaching the 21-year-olds. I'm like, don't drink the beer.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need light, clear, like vodka, tonic, vodka, club soda. You power right through that and you do not feel so bad. You need a little bit of extra hydration in there.
Right. So and a lot of times it's like the sugar in beer, like Miller Lite will make you feel like shit too. Yeah, I was a gin and tonic guy, and gin never made me feel like shit until it did. And then, and then at some point, Candy Thunder and I were just like,
we got the time nor the inclination.
Right.
You'll get there.
If we got time to enjoy something, probably not going to be alcohol, but not that we're opposed to it. It's just the tax is too high.
Well, you also have a lot of responsibilities on the kids. I mean, I don't have any kids left at home, so it's all right. Well, if I need to sleep in, I'm going to sleep in. If the dogs, here, food, go away. It's fine.
Let the day drinking begin.
I mean, there are days. There be days like that.
So the one thing that I found that gives me like the same benefit without the tax is like Delta 9 gummies. Yeah. Those like a little sliver of really puts me at ease, and even will get us into some giggle sessions and let us have fun. But I can wake up not feeling like garbage. I tried Delta 8 for a while, but the tax on it was too high too. I woke up feeling like shit the next day. It would give me a hangover. And I'm like,
those Delta 8s, I swear that most of the time, next day it's I'm cranky, angry, like I just want to
bitchy.
Yeah, I'm a bitch when it comes to
me too. They
next
made
day,
me bitchy.
So I'm like, can't.
That's what I mean. It's like the tax is too high on some of that shit, and finding something that works for you that doesn't have a tax that feels too high that interferes with the rest of your life, I think is the trick. But
you're gonna hate this hot take. The best thing that works out for me is physical activity, like working out.
Yeah.
Like I went rock climbing the other day, and I feel great. I am sore, but
a good sore.
But a good sore.
We actually one of the things we were laughing about last night was like Tony has TED.
Yes.
Ted is Tony's like fun party alter ego. We were trying to figure out what a name for Candy Thunder would be for like the Ted version of Candy Thunder. I landed on Taffy.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's candy, but it's like partially liquefied, right?
Yeah.
and then I said Canty. Because she just can't. And I tried to explain it to her, and she was like, "That's not funny."
No,
I'm sorry. I love you, but that's not funny.
It's not funny.
And he got really quiet after that, and I'm like, all right, I guess fun time's over.
Fun time's over.
Yeah,
Snickers.
There you go. I was trying to come up with one of those candies that is like liquid.
You see, I think you run the risk of either it sounds creepy, like the taffy, or it sounds like a stripper.
She said cherry, and I was like, so your alter ego's a stripper?
Exactly.
Cherry?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work.
She doesn't strike me as that alter ego stripper.
No,
she's not that much of a.
And then we got onto like gummy candies, and she said Lifesavers, and I was like, okay, well, Lifesavers are hard candy.
That's too responsible.
They have Lifesaver gummies, and the gummies,
best thing ever.
And then we got into a debate about which came first. It was the chicken or the egg, but it was Lifesavers, the hard candy or the gummy. It's clearly the hard candy.
Yeah.
Right? Clearly, because those are just called Lifesavers. Lifesaver gummies are the gummy ones. And then she says, do you call the normal ones a sucking candy? I'm like, I think so. It's like a butterscotch, but
I think you can, but you probably shouldn't.
Yes, that's the old man term of hard candies, sucking candies.
Yeah, I think that term fell out of like the normal nomenclature. we don't.
That's what they before things got canceled, it was canceled.
Right? It was canceled well before anything else got canceled.
Removed from the vocabulary, just picked and removed there. All right, we've gone on a tangent already. Some of the talking points that Candy Thunder laid out for us are how do we know each other? Well,
like how do we know each other now, or how did we like exist in the same world?
That's probably a deeper conversation.
Not like chicken and egg type thing, but like I knew you well before any of our current connections.
Yeah,
but kind of through our current connections.
Yeah. Well, I think you and I became close.
Yeah.
Whenever we were connected, and probably had the most communication on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And then. James was actually starring in a commercial that I was producing, and this was many years ago. We did the first round of it. The client didn't love the first round that we did, so we had to find another female actress to fill the role.
And I didn't get replaced.
No, James did not get replaced. When it was time to fill that role again, James had recommended Candace, who I had worked with at Outback 10 years before, but she took the leap and agreed to do this commercial and did a fantastic job. We've posted it in our VIP
I love
group.
that one.
It was really good. I really like the end of it too, when we have you popping up behind the car. Like, yeah, it was cool. So that was kind of the reintroduction of Candace into my life, and that's how we reconnected. And then many months later, she and I officially started dating. And then eventually got married. James is married to Candace's sister, Sarah. So we became actual brothers then and have been really close ever since.
Yeah.
But we also have an understanding of each other now and the kind of world that each other lives through.
They're very similar, but very different all at the same time. Very
similar and very different. And there are some traits that are carried between the two. And it's interesting. It's fun.
It is.
And yeah, so we're officially brothers now, and James does a lot with photography, and we've pulled him into some projects. Dude has done a lot of on-camera stuff for us, which is how we first started getting connected, and that's what led Candace back in. So that's been a fun journey, and now here we are. Yeah. Okay. Second part, James, what is your favorite part of the Dusty Thunder channel besides Dusty's handsome face? I did not write that. I just want to clarify.
But it is. Favorite part of the Dusty Thunder channel. Honestly, I get a great deal of joy out of the lives. I'm on the other side. It's funny lately. I've been answering questions for people who post.
James is a moderator.
But I'm typing it out, and at hit send and you answer it like just second before I'm like, he just answered that one.
That happens a lot. That happens a lot.
But the community and everyone's input, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
Just as a community and a channel that's developed with you. I don't know. I want to make that sound like a plug, but
no,
I wasn't like plugging that, but that's like that's the great part, at least for me.
I think it is one of the most exciting things.
Yeah.
The community that we've built and the way that community jumps into lives is so stinking cool.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's one of the unique things about our channel and our approach too, is that you don't see a lot of Reddit readers doing content live.
Right.
And Candace and I talked about that, or I'm sorry, Candy and I talked about that on the last podcast that we did. I think or maybe it was Tony Spark and I, but it's weird to think about, but the majority of the content that we produce, sans podcast, is done live.
Yeah.
And then we edit it up from there. And that's a little bit wild. But the decision was made to do that because I'm already devoting the time to create this content.
Right.
And really, whenever I was doing it offline, the process would be me read a story, me pause the recording and sit there for a couple minutes and think, what the am I going to say?
What's the best answer?
Yeah. What feedback do I have? Now it's a different process because now I'll read the story. I have thoughts immediately, but I can bounce to chat if I don't really have those thoughts solidified. And then chat helps talk me through seeing stuff. And
they help get you there.
Yeah.
And they don't always agree with you.
No, and that's great.
Yeah,
I don't expect people to. I think let's talk about that for a second because it is a wild world that we live in now, where if people see someone that offers opinion that differs from theirs in any way, shape, or form, they're immediately like, you're the devil.
Oh yeah, you cannot have differing opinions anymore.
I don't understand.
It's very difficult. Which I'm gonna plug it again. Most of the people that differ from your opinion, they just voice that,
right,
and accept your opinion and accept their opinion, and then just move on.
There is a respectful way to do it.
There is, and I miss that in good conversations with people. That's why I like conversations with you. We can differ on things, but it's still at the core. It's okay that we don't share the same opinion on a particular topic. Instead of, well, if you don't have my opinion, you are the devil and I hate you.
We are now enemies.
We are now enemies.
No, I think it is one of the cool things, and I think it's one of the maturity things where you get to a point where you can have a differing opinion from someone, and at the end of that conversation, both walk away not having changed your opinion at all. At best, with a better understanding of the other person's position and why they think the way that they do, but just be like, oh, that's interesting. Cool.
Oh, Keaton and I used to have practice debates of he would pick a topic and throw his opinion, and I would just formulate the opposite.
Yeah.
And aggressively come after him I'm like, you don't actually know if this is my real opinion. I'm just going to pick the opposite of you. And then you got to learn on how to handle that. And he's like, I like that. He's like, I like to talk to people that have a different opinion.
Did he do debate?
No, he did not do debate.
Well, that's great training for him. What you were doing, that's fantastic. So that happens with my teenage girls, except for they're just actually choosing the opposite of whatever I say.
But I think that's also their job.
Maybe.
Like that's part of the contract they signed when they were born.
There was an incident yesterday where there was an incident where I was home with Navy Thunder, and Candy had gone to pick up Ava Thunder from school or from practice or something. And got home with her. Ava comes in first, guns a-blazing, doors slamming, stomping around. I'm like, hey, you okay? Fine.
Yes, I believe that. Fine.
Navy's like, Ava, Dee, Ava. Ava had the blinders on and just stomped her way upstairs and slammed her door. And I'm like, oh, something's going on here.
That's been quite a progression the last couple of years of getting into that. Hey, look, this is a teenage girl. Good luck.
Yeah. The funny part now is that with girls, I firmly believe that they do become teenagers in like the third grade now.
That's true.
It just gets worse from there. But
I think Navy is already a teenager.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Her vocabulary and her attitude has
sync right up.
Yeah, they've progressed just rapidly over the past couple of months. It's just funny it's not funny, but it's interesting to notice those things happening. And Candy Thunder has to talk me down from this a lot because I'm like, that shit is not okay. And she's like, dude, you don't know what it's like to be a teenage girl and to have like that amount of emotion just bursting from you at all times, and if it's not doing anybody harm, just ignore it. She'll get through it. I'm like, okay, but
that's a good balance that you've got there. Good job, Candy.
That is an area where she has to constantly talk me down because those extremes and those, like, you know, outbursts that I see, I'm like,
you don't do well with extremes.
I'm like, get your shit in check. Like, handle that. You don't have to subject the rest of the world to your emotions. But Candy does a really good job of putting it in perspective for me. There are times
they really have to, otherwise they'll kill you in your sleep.
Yes, well, we're also on opposite ends of the spectrum, so I do think we balance out in some areas there where she may be overly accepting of the emotional outbursts, and I am on the opposite end of whatever that is. But it's having teenagers is wild.
Yeah, pretty much don't have teenagers anymore.
Yeah, but you had boys.
That's true, which thank the Lord.
Yeah, and they can be. Caden went through a very difficult teenage phase.
He about got checked a couple times.
Yeah, he had a very opinionated teenage phase, which is fine. And luckily, you know, he grew out of that, and he's very chill now. And Candy says that she was worse than Ava is whenever she was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm certainly glad you grew out of that. But her point is, Ava will grow out of this too, and the teenage girls will grow out of this. I'm like, wow, I just never been firsthand subjected to it. I had sisters, but that's different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like my job in life was to battle my sisters on the daily. So
yeah,
this is different. Eek.
Well, as a brother, you can battle. As a parent, it's a little more difficult. The battles look a little bit different. Sibling to parent, everybody's very different, which kind of blows everybody's mind. It's interesting.
I think it's cool. It's cool now, and kind of looking at the process that you know I went through growing up, and how I ended up finding my passion and figuring out what I was good at. And now, you know, I would love to just let my kids experiment and try as many things as possible.
Oh, yeah.
And when they find that thing that they love doing and they feel like they were born to do, chase it. Just chase the shit out of it. Which was obviously a very different process than it was whenever I was growing up. But, you know, I don't think my parents weren't musicians. So like me, I don't know how I ended up picking up the trumpet, but I ended up picking it up.
Middle school band.
Huh?
Middle school band.
Middle school band. Yeah. I think it may be that middle school band, like intro to whenever everybody has to learn the recorder and go that route. That may have been the beginning of it, but unlocked.
Did you guys already pass the recorder stage at your house?
No, they don't.
Still in it, or they just don't do it anymore?
They don't do that anymore. I'm trying to remember if in elementary school they did it, but they never. I don't think they ever did like the bring it home. You have to practice XYZ kind of thing. Which
I think the parents write it at some point. Of we don't want to hear 4 consecutive hours of hot cross buns on that whistly off tune.
I'm thankful. However, it is an opportunity that unlocks things for so many kids.
Yeah.
So now, like, I try to make sure I have the instruments around so that the kids can jump on if they want to. Or Navy loves to go beat the shit out of the keyboard and play piano. And has a really good time doing that, and maybe she'll end up having some kind of passion for it. Maybe not, but
maybe she'll pick up the drums.
I told.
Can I buy her drum set?
Yeah, absolutely. I did tell Candy Thunder, I'm like, I hope you know that one day, if and when we ever retire, I'm getting a drum kit, because there are so many things that I want to learn that I just don't have time to learn right now that I'm gonna learn someday.
Your kids are going to come visit, and Candy's going to be, your dad's in the garage with his drum kit. I made him go outside. I can't handle that noise.
She immediately is just like, that kid, you know, someday if we have a detached garage man cave area that's soundproofed, you go right ahead and you do that. So many things, though.
You could put a drum kit in here.
Yeah.
It's pretty soundproof.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad. It's just space. Drum kits take up so much.
Oh, they really do.
That's why the piano, I have a MIDI keyboard that's a 61 key, and I can set it on my desk at home, and it's right there. It doesn't take up a huge amount of space, so that was a little bit easier. It's tough though. I mean, there's such a huge
grand.
A grand, grand. There we go. I just set it right in the middle of the foyer.
The foyer, yes. You could fit it in there, and we would just have to walk around it. Go to the bathroom or anything you had to do.
Kids would be running into it all the time. Navy would be setting her cups and stuff up on it.
Oh yeah,
we'd find Yeah, we'd find snacks between the keys and stuff. It'd be a good time.
Why am I out of tune?
There's
Gummy bears, Cheerios, Goldfish.
This key's stuck. What is that?
That was the jelly from the sandwich we had at lunch.
So for me, there's this massive list of shit that I want to learn that I think I would really enjoy, that I plan on getting to at some point in life. Do you have a list of things that it's like, if I ever get time, I want to learn these things?
Not really, that I already haven't at least tried to and have been injured by. I decided at 40 I'm going to snowboard. So I taught myself to snowboard at 40 and beat myself up, and then ended up with surgery the next time the second snowboarding adventure I went, I fifth run down the mountain, fell and broke my shoulder into little bitty pieces, and there was surgery and recovery. And then I taught myself to mountain bike because Caden wanted a mountain bike. So let's go. We just jump right into it. I'll mountain bike with you. Learned to do that. Crashed and broke myself several times. I'm rock climbing, so like I'm checking this stuff off. I'm fortunate that Sarah's very much, if you want to do it, do it. There's no holding back for a good hobby. I'd rock the photography, the mountain biking, the snowboarding, the list goes on and on of what I've run through and experienced.
You just dive into it then.
Yeah.
You don't have a someday list, you just do it.
Yeah.
I envy that. I think it's awesome.
Well, but kids are older at this point. So we chased them around. There was the baseball and the football and basketball, and we did that, which was the best thing ever. Now it's one of those, I'm going to find something for me to do.
Yeah.
So I do it.
That's awesome. I can't wait to get there. We decided to hit the reset button and extend.
Reset.
Or yes, we basically refinanced our lives and extended the kid mortgage out another 20 years. So
yes.
We'll see what happens there.
But has been a really great experience.
Oh, yeah.
Navy's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Worth every bit of it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Oh, no.
It's just funny that, once we get to the point where you're at, where we can actually just do, like, not have to think about it, just to like, I want to do this. Okay, do it.
I think the list of activities may be a little different. I don't know that when you get to that age, you're going to want to go learn to snowboard.
I'm going to be 80. I'll have a fully white wizard beard by then.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens on it. But yes,
get an extra snowboard and boots.
I'm down.
You can do it now. No expense. Just take it and don't hurt yourself.
Now I go film for a couple of hours and I come back and I'm like, I'm too old for this.
Too old for this.
Can't imagine snowboarding.
Yeah.
My list of intended hobbies is way less death defying than yours is. I don't imagine that I'll be having surgery after any of it.
I hope not.
Yeah. Hope not. Although,
if you pick up a drum kit and end up with surgery, it's time to hang some stuff up, man. It's time to hang it up.
I want to learn to play drums like Animal from was it from the Muppets? Yes, that's how I want to play the drums. Getting my pilot's license is on that list.
That is, I've always wanted to fly. Like that's, you brought that back up, man. Yeah, we're gonna fly.
Here it goes.
Yes, that's the next thing.
One of my first dates with Candy Thunder was going up for a test flight. So we went up out at Joplin Airport and had the instructor with us, of course, but we went up and flew around Joplin.
Sweet.
It was very cool. So what's out of all the things that we've done lately, that you've heard lately, what has been the one story that you've liked the most or that's most memorable for you?
Oh, I honestly, I think it's the ones that you get triggered on, because oftentimes those trigger me as well. With and granted, it was just recently, the kid that got locked outside.
Oh,
dad passed out with the beer, and he's like, "Am I the asshole for?" Yes, for many other reasons, yes. And you just have that visceral reaction. I mean, and I do like the petty confetti ones.
Yeah. Yeah. The petty revenge ones are great.
Oh yes, they're great.
Revenge ones are really good, but
that's a live vicariously thing. Like not a lot of like people want to do that. Like I want to get back at them, but then they generally don't because you're trying to.
There's a time investment. There's an emotional investment. There's risk involved. The Annoyatrons one. Did you see that one?
Yes, that was fantastic, and I've said it several times. If I hear one, I know where to find you.
I
know where to find you.
I have 3 brand new ones in a package sitting out front. I could send one with you.
I have a little more expendable time for revenge. if you come after me, I have the time and effort investment that I can make.
No, so I don't have time to think that out yet.
yet.
However, if we send at least one with you so that you can set it up somewhere in the house to drive your wife crazy, I know she listens to these podcasts when she's on the road.
Yeah.
So you would have enough time between this recording and this posting to actually get away with it.
You do know that she has significant hearing loss. She wouldn't hear it. I would.
Put it in her.
It would be counterproductive.
In her car.
No, because then I would have to take the car to the mechanic in the shop. I'm like, it's making a weird noise. I'm like, what does it sound like? I don't know. See, you got to think this through, man. You put that in the car. I got to go fix the car now.
How about on a hairbrush or something that she gets really close to her ears?
Yeah.
That would be good. Does she have a set of headphones that she religiously uses?
No.
Damn, that could have been good.
The most common religiously used item would be the blow dryer,
which makes its own noise.
Yeah.
You probably melt this thing. How about
I'm gonna put it in her luggage,
in a pillowcase, like under the pillow, so when she lays her head down on it, her ears
will hear it.
That's right.
It will be me.
I'm trying to come up with something here.
No, I do have, and so my regular work travels, I could just leave some at like branches across the country.
Oh, that'd be great.
Like I got to go to Portland and Salt Lake in New York. I mean, we are a ways away, and they may never know it was me.
That would be fantastic. But yes,
gaslight some of my managers. Every time he shows up, there's just weird noises.
You're like, it's like a mineral deficiency. So there are some people who have like mineral deficiencies or an abundance of iron in their system or something, and electronics will freak out around them.
Yeah.
You can just go with that. Be like, it's my aura.
It's my aura.
Electronics just start chirping and making noises when I'm around. So
what if I get away with it on a plane?
You'd end up on TikTok as a viral video with some chick saying you're not real, and you'd be escorted off.
Yeah, I'm sure TSA would flag that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Speaking of, at Arrowhead, it was partway through the second quarter, I believe, and I got up to go get a drink. And while I'm at concessions, a few feet from me, I hear some commotion, turn around, and this old boy is getting tackled by 3 sheriffs, and he's not just resisting. He is resisting with every fiber of his being.
How did that work out?
Screaming, and he was escorted out by like a dozen cops. It was crazy what was going on, but the best part was whenever they were escorting him away, about 20 feet behind him, I see his wife following behind, just shaking her head like, oh God, here we go again. Like this poor gal. So Candy Thunder, at least I don't cause a scene like that in public and get us kicked out of places. Escorted out by the police.
I mean, yeah, bucket list, man.
Yeah, we got to get to that hobby point of our lives.
Get to the hobby point.
All right, last question before we dive in on stories here. How do you feel about beans?
I like the beans.
The beans.
And you know, it's funny. I heard this several times on the live when those were dropped and we were explaining the bean story.
Yeah.
When we got the can of beans, I, like many, thought beans in a pillow was like the dry beans that you get at the store.
I did too.
And like that's the regular, that's next level of.
The word that Caden Thunder keeps using is squelch.
Oh, man.
Like, yeah, squelch.
Caden, I'm coming for you.
I thought hard beans like raw beans too, because that would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? To have.
Maybe smell weird, but not be like an immediate, like you sit on the hard beans for a while. Like you'd be just laying there and be like,
yeah,
what is wrong with my pillow?
Yeah, something is uncomfortable.
Squelch would be an immediate, you're up. Sound effects? You didn't even have like a preset button to make that sound effect. You just made that.
I had it on cue. That's the squelch. But you're laying your head on a pillow full of wet beans.
Oh, that's nasty.
Refried or baked beans?
Oh, I'm a refried.
You're a refried bean guy? I'm a baked beans guy. My grandma, who has since passed, but made the best baked beans ever. I'm a huge fan of those. You know, at this point in my life, I have to choose. I have to pick and choose when I'm going to have baked beans or not. Refried beans, I could never get into unless it's used as like the paste in like a burrito or taco. I use it more like glue.
Oh yeah, I mean you mix that in with you go to a restaurant, you get the beans and the rice, and you put them together, and you eat those at the same time. You add it to your taco or your burrito or whatever.
Edible adhesive.
Yes, edible adhesive.
That's what it's always been.
It's very multifunctional.
But you've got people who will just like straight up eat the little cans of refried beans, and I was
spoon out of a can.
Yep, I was never that guy. All right, so our very first story here is from Best of Redditor Updates, and it was originally posted August 6th of this year, 2023. Title of this is "My 41 female husband, 52 male, has a second family on the side."
What?
These stories just blow my mind.
Who has the time and the energy for that?
Exactly. Like if I had the amount of time and energy that it took to create a side family, there are so many things. Like I'd be a pilot by now, right? There are so many things that you could do with that time instead. Jeez, the time waste
makes me tired. Like I want to nap after just reading the title.
Obviously, it's very wrong, but you, sir, have done yourself a grave disservice by wasting time.
How much more stuff could you get done?
All right. I've been sitting with this information for almost 2 weeks now, and I still don't know how to proceed. My husband has been in what seems like a committed relationship with another woman, and he's playing happy families with her and her 3 sons. They're even planning on having a baby. A week ago, I stumbled on a TikTok account of this lady sharing her recipes, and in the background, I recognized my husband's back. Could your wife pick your back out of a lineup?
I don't think so.
Not unless it was nude.
Even then, I don't think so.
I wasn't too sure at first, but after taking a real good look and his wife, I know that fool's neck, back, legs, and the clothing he was wearing. So I went looking through her posted videos just to piece together a confirmation of it really being my husband. And I continued to keep an eye on him and his movements, but he seemed normal. The guys who pull this shit normally do. It's because they're good at it. It's clear to me now that he has his cheating down to a science. Every time he went on his work trips, she'd post these videos saying she's cooking a new recipe because her man is coming back from his work trip. She'd plate up the food and I'd recognize his grubby hands by their look and the way he'd hold the cutlery. He had a peculiar way of holding it. Kind of looks like a Neanderthal discovering forks and knives. I can't believe this bastard has been with her for 3 years. I don't know how he found the time to start an entire relationship on the side. I thought we were happy. He tells me he loves me all the time. Always brings me a gift from his work trips. When he's home, we have a great sex life and pretty much have sex 4 to 6 times a week. We talk all the time. We've been married for 21 years and we have 2 daughters. We lost our eldest son 10 years ago, but we worked through it and got closer than ever before. We are even due to have our 22nd anniversary, and it's his turn to plan it. We alternate who plans the anniversary each year. I know he's planning an elaborate party for us, so why is he cheating? I'm so angry and don't know what steps to take. I am utterly distraught. I thought we were happy. I thought he loved our little life. I feel like I can't think and barely know where to start. I can barely focus. What do I do and how do I do it? I love coming on here and reading things and giving advice, but now that it's me, I feel like I can't think. I nearly burned my kitchen down because I literally spaced out and forgot I was cooking. Holy shit. Relevant commenter, collect all the evidence, all the videos, and a timeline of his work trips, contact a divorce lawyer, and hit him with divorce papers. I'm normally of the approach that splits should be as amicable as possible, but this has a whole second family, be the definition of a woman scorned. OP's reply, I've been downloading all of her TikToks and screenshotting everything she has posted on her Instagram. I've also been collecting all of her bank statements, but I can't find anything incriminating. At this point, I'm thinking he has a secondary bank account I don't know of, and he's probably having the post delivered at his office or his mistress's house. I'm actually considering hiring a private investigator to do a deep dive since I can't find any other evidence of his cheating. Before we move on to the update, thoughts?
Well, aside from it's astounding that he can keep this level. I mean, the time and the energy, both people think he's on a work trip when he's not there.
They're both buying it.
I don't disagree with the woman scorned. I don't know that would be necessary. I mean, we don't have to investigate anything.
I think she's looking for further concrete evidence and probably just wanting to know more.
Yeah, I mean,
I get that. I would want to know everything.
Yeah,
I would want to be like, I want the full picture before I make any actionable judgments.
Just reach out to the woman who you're downloading on screenshotting
and let her know.
I ask her, be like, all right, it's a weird question. Either my husband has a doppelganger and just happens to be the schedules of a line, the universe and the stars, like, hey, weird things happen sometimes. Maybe he has a twin out there or maybe he's just really good at juggling all of the whether you go scorched earth or not. I mean, if you're going to go scorched earth, you better have some good concrete evidence, because if this turns out to be not right and you've burned the house down, like not accidentally, but like actually like burned the house down, destroyed the world, maybe sure.
Yeah. And maybe that's why she's thinking of hiring the private investigator, to be sure. I mean, she's sure, but
can you just go on a work trip with him?
That's a good idea. Be like, hey, I'd like to tag along this time. You know, he'd have some kind of excuse. Oh, well, the company won't pay for it this time, blah, 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 blah. There'd be something that would prevent it. But she's got a system. She's got to throw a wrench in his system, because his system is what allows all of this to go off without a hitch right now. If she tries to rock the boat on the system and see how he reacts, that would be a tell.
Yeah.
But he's clearly a pro at this.
That is a level of commitment.
Imagine
if buddy trail for a minute. I'm not condoning, but you see why some people like the grass is always greener, and like they're missing something. So you can say, all right, well, someone got a side chick. Don't do that. But he's going next level with this. Like, he's building a relationship out there. This is not a fling. This is not a side chick. This is like, you see this in movies and TVs of the mistress in the other town. Mm-hmm. Like, he went full send. Yeah. Full send with this if this is what he's doing.
Fully committed.
Yeah.
I'm just like, my brain can't help but go, imagine if he showed this level of commitment to his family. Like, how much love they would feel, and how much of a relationship and an experience and memories he'd be able to have created with them, instead of having to lead a double life. I mean, the argument may be that there are some people who will just never be satisfied with one partner or whatever. So this is his way of cheating with different women or whatever the f***. There is no excuse for this. It is not.
It's safer because it's just one?
Maybe.
Less sketchy?
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out the justification here of why put in this much effort.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly he thinks he needs it. He needs it or deserves it or whatever the f***. Let's make a disclaimer. Time out right here. There are polyamorous relationships. The deal with that is that everyone involved is in agreement. Yes, that everyone is aware and everyone is in agreement. This is not a polyamorous relationship.
After 22 years, they might have gone, you know what? When I'm on work trip, I'm at her house. You have him at here. I mean,
if they had developed that understanding,
they could have done that. Sure, yeah.
But this is done in deceit, and that's
If it's on a doppelganger,
polyamorous rules do not apply.
No, they do not. Sorry about you.
Okay, let's get to the update. August 28th, 2023, 3 weeks later. Firstly, thank you all for your kindness and for all the great advice you've given me. I am truly grateful. The past couple of weeks have been a whirlwind of emotions. I've been able to engage the services of a great divorce lawyer, and I was advised to not let my husband know that I knew of his affair. I was then finally given the go-ahead a few days ago, and well, at first he refused to admit to anything. Well, sure. But I was prepared for that, and I showed him all of the online posts his mistress made. I also showed him pictures taken by my investigator. He still denied it, then accused me of being insane. Oh,
gaslight.
This is so shocking.
No,
you're crazy. Those pictures, you had these pictures fabricated. That's all AI.
He went straight out of like Shaggy's book of "It wasn't me." It wasn't me.
Then, after hours of me just throwing evidence after evidence at him, he finally admitted to the affair. He tried to twist things so that he could weasel and lie his way out of it, but I was relentless. I did not let him twist reality and make me doubt the plain truth. We argued all day and night. It was exhausting. The next morning, he tried to get on my good side because I woke up to him having made breakfast, and he was begging me to not hate him and to find it in my heart to forgive. I told him I could not and that I wanted a divorce. That brought on the waterworks, and he called me a heartless and unforgiving bitch. He then left to take his things to his parents' house as I had asked him to leave. While he was at his parents', I went to his mistress's home. Ooh, shit, it's about to get real. My sister went with me. She waited in the car, and well, she let me in and we talked. She wasn't even surprised I was there. I had already suspected that she was aware of him being a married man, but I still gave her the benefit of the doubt. She was actually gloating when she told me about how in love he is with her, how good he is to her boys, and how he even bought her the house, the car, and all the other money he spent on her. She then told me if I wasn't such a lazy bitch and gold digger, he wouldn't have had had been so easily taken, and how my lack of submission and servitude was the reason he cheated. How am I a lazy bitch when I'm the primary parent and housemaker is beyond me, and how I am a gold digger I don't understand as I work and earn more than him. Ooh. Maybe she touched on something there.
Yeah.
As she was flapping her gums, he arrived and was pissed off at her. He was calling me a ton, and I had texted him that I was at his mistress's house. They argued, and he told her not to speak to me like that, and he in no uncertain terms told her that he wants to be with me and that she's ruining his chance at saving his marriage. I just thanked her for being forthcoming and continued to laugh my way out of the house because, yes, my husband makes great money, but as his business partner, I own half of his business, and as his wife, I own half of all of his other assets.
Plot twist.
So I'm glad that she gloated and that she confirmed that he paid for most of what she has. Now I know for certain that he nor she deserve an ounce of my sympathy, and I will take everything he ever gave her and so much more.
She scorched earth here. And oh my gosh, she is set up to just burn the whole institution down.
She played this right because letting the mistress gloat and spill the squelch.
The beans.
Spill the squelch about him paying for all this shit, yes, tells her that if it was used with personal funds, she owns half of it. If it was business funds used, she owns half of it as well. So he's got no way.
Oh, no.
See, he's got no way of making this work. Relevant comments, comment, hire a forensic accountant ASAP.
Yes.
Original OP's reply, oh, did that because I'm certain he used company finances to live extra lavishly. I certainly look forward to taking possession of the house and clawing back every penny he spent on her.
Oh, damn. Oh,
I don't have a brozo button here, but boys, whoever's editing, brozo.
No, that doesn't even classify for that because that's like, oops, we did something stupid. No, this is like vindictive.
This is premeditated.
This is not just a oops, I'm sorry.
No, but
that's brozo. This is something completely different.
This is American Psycho.
Yeah.
I mean, this is true narcissistic behavior because he thought he deserved to have a side chick. He thought he deserved to spend all this money on her. And, I mean, he did all this shit because he thought he deserved it. And that's truly narcissistic or sociopathic.
It's messed up a little bit.
To take all this risk. Like, okay, let's assume for a second that he thought
he wasn't thinking about the risks.
No, well, clearly he wasn't thinking about the risk.
Look, I think eventually, like after, I don't know, you're paying the mortgage on technically 2 houses at this point, some brain in cell would go, stay. She's got our money too, right?
It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Bad idea. Bad idea. Bad idea.
That little voice. He'd stop listening to the little voice. Even if it wasn't at first, sometime there would have been a voice in there that said, psst.
Yeah. So do you think when he showed up all pissed off at the mistress, he was actually pissed off because she was being unkind to his wife? Or do you think he was concerned that she was going to say something that would get him in further trouble because of the finances?
I think it was the further trouble for the finances. Yeah. And he's good at this. So he is positioning. He picked his side. So he's got to defend his side. So I got a white knight because don't talk to my wife that way.
Don't talk to my wife that way. I'm going to go to jail. Because I used all these company finances to build my side chick life. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he probably is just playing defense at this point and trying to.
This is damage control. He's trying to position and do whatever he can to make himself look better. Please don't leave.
Other than damage control, I don't understand how he can genuinely believe here that there's any shot in hell that she's going to forgive him or not leave his ass and not go scorched earth here.
Well, because he probably forgot who she is and what she's capable of.
He gonna remember. He woke up Khaleesi. Like finale Khaleesi.
I mean, you start playing with business funds like that, then you end up with the corporation saves you.
Yes.
And you've ruined yourself forever.
Yeah. There's no coming back from this, man.
Oh, man.
He has ruined his entire life. And yes, clearly he never thought about the risks, but I just don't understand how someone can spool all of this up, apply that much time and devotion to something and not consider the risk.
Yeah.
How can they think all of this through to the point that they did it for so long and didn't get caught and never once think, what if? What all falls apart if this happens? And I think the shittiest part here is that, yes, she's going to be able to do something about it. She's going to be able to recoup a lot of this and sell all those assets off and try to make herself whole. their business is done.
Yeah.
If they were co-owners of a business and they're going through this, like the business is probably done. So now he's harmed his original family's position. Mm-hmm. And now they both have to figure something else out.
Yeah, because even if she comes out on top, there's still damage.
Yeah.
I mean, and like there's financial damage, not
future,
just like...
It's like the future stability of income is now gone. He's probably going to end up paying a
So he's got 2 families worth of kids that you can no longer effectively support.
Yes.
Either.
So Mistress's boys aren't his.
Oh, that's right. They were planning on having a baby.
So
he's 52.
Theoretically, fiscal obligations to Mistress don't exist because the boys aren't his.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the house is going to get taken away from her. It's going to get sold, blah, blah, blah. It'd be funny if original OP here offered to let the mistress stay if she paid this exorbitant rent. It's going to take some time for her to find a new place, right? You're like, hey, if you want to stay, I'll let you stay.
I'm your new landlord.
$20,000 a month. You'll have to find some other married guy to pony that up. Sorry.
Oh, no, you just put a contract in there. You make it reasonable, and the contract for you screw anything up in this house before you leave, like play that high road with the ability to crash down the world upon.
The brozo part of this that I think there is a brozo element to it was that he thought he deserved to have two.
Oh yeah,
families.
that's.
It's like he was so full of himself.
That's a narcissistic brozo right there.
Absolutely. Definitely an ASCON 1 for dumbass here.
Yeah.
OP, not the asshole at all.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Played it well.
I'm not even sure that Mistress is one.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yes, she is.
Well, because she was complicit in it. She
was
knew.
Complicit. She knew. Yeah. And gloated. Like she made choices here that sent her down an ASCON 1 path.
You got to understand. You got to understand or know that at some point she's gonna be realizing that she doesn't know for sure. She knows about the wife and the information provided. Mm-hmm. You got to believe that that's not the whole side of the story.
Sure.
So for her to go, well, yeah, you're just a gold digger. Well, yeah, are you sure she's a gold digger? Because you were fed information.
Right.
You only have one source of information you do not know. Maybe we keep our mouth shut because he may have lied to you about everything.
Yep. If he presented
like
that
a gold digger doesn't count as a business partner.
Exactly. It's a gold digger thing. So he presented himself as the sole proprietor in the business.
Yeah.
And her having no claim on anything. And her not making any money or anything, but he's about to be homeless. So
yeah,
I think you picked the wrong married guy there, Mistress.
Depending on the business setup, LLCs and all that fun stuff, maybe he's not like penniless unless he's played with the company funds to fund his lifestyle.
So her last reply here is saying that she's certain he used company finances to live extra lavishly.
A forensic accountant will find that.
Yep. Like, ooh. Boy, you done messed up.
Oh, yeah.
You done messed up.
We have problems.
Okay, so our second story here is an AITA story, and this one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Leaving the Table After What My Father-in-Law Said?
Yes.
Yeah. Just immediately.
Yeah, just...
Like, did you finish eating? Did you abandon cake?
Don't
These are
abandon
things we
the
need
cake.
to know. My 26 female husband, 29 male, and I were invited to my in-laws for dinner yesterday. Everything was going great until my mother-in-law brought up my husband's player phase in high school.
Thanks.
Imagine what that conversation was like. And how does a mother-in-law like just ease that into a conversation? You know,
he used to be a real ladies man.
Billy was a bit of a player in high school.
Mom.
My mother-in-law was just jokingly being like, honestly, him in high school, I'd never thought he'd actually settle down with somebody. And my father-in-law was like, yeah, even less with someone like you. I asked him what he meant by that. Oh,
no.
On this episode of Filterless Father-in-Laws, both my mother-in-law and husband were then like, please, no, in a, oh, he's going to f*** up way. Let me guess, father-in-law was like, yep, I'm going to f*** up, here it comes.
Here it comes. Where'd you coming out? I don't care.
No, don't care. Let's see this calamity happen. My father-in-law said, well, you weren't exactly his type in high school, you know. My husband tried to make him stop after that, but my father-in-law added, not saying you weren't pretty enough or anything like that. You just wouldn't have caught his eyes.
Okay.
I got up from the table and went to the bathroom. I was not even in there for 5 minutes when my husband knocked and told me we were leaving. Once we were home, my husband received a text from his mom saying that my reaction was childish and disrespectful and that we wouldn't be invited again until I apologized. My husband replied that I'd only apologize if my father-in-law apologized first. He didn't get an answer, but his sister texted me that I needed to apologize ASAP because I was putting my husband's relation with his parents at risk over a misunderstanding. If it was a fucking misunderstanding, wouldn't it be on the person who caused the misunderstanding to apologize to resolve this misunderstanding?
Yeah, if you were misunderstood and if there's a problem, maybe he goes, well, what I meant was...
Right.
I wasn't saying it that way.
He's got to do some backtracking here. Is it the responsibility of the person who received the information? Is it on the person who misunderstood, or is it on the person who communicated poorly?
That's a case by case thing. You can't
Probably.
say it's always.
But I think generally, if we could say that one person communicated poorly, it's on the person who communicated poorly to resolve and to clarify. It's not on the person who was communicated poorly to be like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, misunderstood the shitty communication.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem fair.
No, it's not fair. And the problem and the struggle here is, what? I didn't say anything bad. You got father-in-law that is, what?
I made a disclaimer. I said it. It's not like
It's
you're
not like you're not pretty.
But the fact that he made that disclaimer, it was kind of self-fulfilling. You know what I mean? It's like that disclaimer basically said, this is what I'm saying.
It's like you go somewhere and someone says, well, I'm not racist. You know the next thing coming is not going to be good. Just don't say those things. No.
I'm not racist, but
I'm not saying you're not pretty. You shouldn't have started talking.
Yeah.
The next thing that's going to come out is going to be bad. So don't do that.
This does sound like a grandpa thing to say. Like, I think you do lose your filter gradually over time. And like my grandpa, we call him Pop.
That old.
We call him, I'm getting close. My grandpa Pop has completely lost his filter to the point where my family just accepts that when we go out to dinner with him, he's going to offend the waitstaff. Like, it's just going to happen. And he may have gotten better about it, but since my grandma passed, she was his filter, and she would be like, Harold, but now there's no one there to say Harold, and now he just says shit, and
he just says shit.
And it's cringy, and he doesn't care, which there's some purity and humor about that. However, to be the receiver of it and then expected to apologize because someone said something cringy is bullshit.
I imagine we don't go to the waitstaff and ask him to apologize to Harold.
No, never.
That's just not a thing.
Wouldn't do it because everybody knows.
I still don't feel father-in-law, and we don't have ages. Can't believe that they would be old enough to get they're just old pass.
No, I don't think they do.
I mean, these are adult. Put a 30-year gap in there. That's 60s.
If it's a 30-year gap.
If it's a 30-year gap.
And
It's probably much less, but at 60, I'm expecting you to have a filter, Joe Biden.
Right.
I'm not there's no politics going on.
60 is not old enough to get the your filter has degraded pass.
Yes.
Where I'm hoping this goes, and that was the end of the story. We don't have any updates or anything to add to it. Where I'm hoping this goes is that husband here continues to hold the line and say, no, that was inappropriate. And it's his parents. So I feel like the responsibility is really on him to keep the fire lit underneath this, isn't to say, hell no, what you did was inappropriate. You will apologize to my wife or we won't be back. Using not being invited back as a threat or to harm the relationship.
With a good time.
Right. It's like, okay.
So I'm not going to go back to where my wife was abused. Cool.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Deal.
Done.
The sister being like, you need to apologize ASAP because you're risking the relationship. Well, no father-in-law risked the relationship here by saying shitty things.
Well, the sister is getting just one side of the story.
Absolutely.
And it's obviously being downplayed of, well, no, he was just talking about him in high school and she got upset because reasons.
Because reasons. I think there's also proximity at play here as well.
Yeah.
Because you see the sister reach out because she's been hearing about it, which means she's either still living there or she's close enough with them to be the receiver of the brunt of the bullshit part of this.
Yeah.
And the people in proximity will always advocate for their pain to end selfishly.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Whether they believe that this is the actual
I'm tired of mom talking about this, please.
Yeah, please make my pain go away. Just make my pain go away.
I don't care about your pain, but my pain needs to dissipate.
I don't care what the right thing to do is. I just need my pain to go away. I think that's probably what we're seeing here. So screw her.
Yeah.
I would grain of salt with her opinion here. toss it over the shoulder. Yes.
Sprinkle of salt. Just a grain of salt. We're not leaving with that one.
Oh, man. No, OP, you are not the astronaut for leaving the table after what was said. It's not like I don't think you got up and stormed off. You got up and excused yourself to the restroom.
Long enough to maintain composure.
5 minutes. Like just getting up.
Yeah.
Was enough for them to be like, oh, that was childish.
I mean, she didn't like to do the Monopoly table flip or anything.
Yeah.
Maybe then she would have had to apologize with the Monopoly table flip. At least for that.
I still don't, yeah.
But no, now we're going to talk about what you said.
Yeah, this is horseshit. And I think, I hope that hubby here holds his ground and does the right thing for his wife.
This is going to be a larger burden on hubby because he's got to hold that line. He's probably going to have to explain what he meant.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what do you mean I wouldn't have cut yours? What did he mean by that? He's going to have to explain on his father-in-law's behalf and still hold the line.
Right.
So he's going to have to dig up some stuff of why would I have not caught your attention?
It may be something as simple as like he was into brunettes or he liked girls that dressed slutty. Like, who knows what the thing was, but father-in-law didn't do anybody any favors, especially himself.
He very well could have made that dangerously a compliment. Father-in-law would he only liked
trashy
hookers
women.
and trashy women, and now he found you.
You're classy.
Like at the time, he had terrible taste in women.
Yeah.
Terrible taste. He upgraded to you. He could have done that.
Yeah, if he were tactful.
I don't feel that he has a whole lot of tact. Filling in some blanks with, not that you weren't pretty, probably is not the tactful type.
All-time greatest opening lines.
I don't mean this as an insult.
Yeah. If you don't think that's an insulting opener, try walking up to someone at a bar and saying, I ain't saying that you're not pretty, and just stop there and see what happens.
Can I film that?
Yeah, it would be great. We'll test this on 100 subjects to get a good sample. We'll perform an actual experiment here.
Not it.
Bag's not
Ted.
Bag's not. Oh, Ted would be great for this.
Yes.
We could convince Ted.
Send Ted off and we'll film it. The gold.
Speaking of Ted, and this video will probably be out by the time this podcast comes out, but we filmed several check-in updates with Ted that we'll call TED Talks at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
The progression of Ted.
Oh, yeah, because Ted was going to make an appearance Thursday for the opener.
Yeah. Ted did. Ted showed up, and the funny part is that Ted fully arrived at the wrong time. Ted fully arrived at the moment where we were getting ready to go into the stadium. Ted arrived whenever we realized that the new mobile ticketing system that they have requires you to have good network access. And in the parking lot at Arrowhead is not a point where you're going to have good network access. So Ted went on full meltdown mode and was like, well, I don't know how to deal with this shit. What do we do? He's like, we may not be able to get in. Like, that's Ted. And
no, I'm getting in.
Okay, we're going to figure this out. So I'm sitting on a freaking rock in the middle of the parking lot in this median. And while I'm trying to get my app to go through and to connect so we can get our tickets and go into the gosh heckin' game, Ted finds some official looking person on a golf cart in the parking lot and walks over to them and is like, hey, you look official. And the person's like, yeah, what's up? And it's like, well, here's the deal. Mobile ticketing, great idea. But if you're gonna have mobile ticketing, you gotta have network access that isn't garbage for people to get your ticket. It was great. And then we're like, we'll figure it out. So that person told him there were people up front to help with this because yes, it's clearly an issue. We get up front and Ted is like chugging his last sippy poo drink before we go in because you can't take drinks in. And we get up there and he sort of explains the situation to the gal at the ticket gate, and she takes Ted's phone, and they must have some kind of magic touch there because as soon as she has it in her hands, it has full Wi-Fi connectivity. Yes. She taps on his app, opens right up to the tickets, and everything's fine. And we get in, and Ted is like, see, I told you Ted would figure this out. I'm like,
Ted was figuring it out.
Ted didn't figure out shit. It was great, though. We did some check-ins during the game, which was obviously not going well. And Ted was not impressed by the way the Chiefs were playing, to the point where at the very, in the fourth quarter, Ted was on repeat saying two things and two things only. Jesus Christ! What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Over and over and over again. It was fantastic. I can't wait to see this video put together. Awesome. Ted was entertaining. Ted was very entertaining. I don't know how we got to Ted, but
because we were going to test how well these pickup lines would work.
Yes.
Not saying you're not pretty.
Now, father-in-law, you need to apologize. You
Yes,
need to make
father-in-law
this
needs
shit
to apologize. Sister needs to stay out of it. Mother-in-law probably needs to go, Harold, stop it, more often.
Whoever created the mess gets to clean it up.
Yes.
And if you make your guest clean up a mess that someone else created, then you're just shitty family.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to give a shit if they don't get to be around you anymore. It's not a punishment.
Don't be shitty.
Don't be shitty. Okay, story number 3 for this podcast with beer today is another AITA story, and it is, am I the astronaut for literally showing my dad how he behaves every day when he gets home from work? My female 16, father, male 46, is the breadwinner, quotation mark, while mom is a stay-at-home mom. She handles everything around the house like cooking, mopping, washing laundry, etc. I'm the oldest and I try to help, but there's really only so much I can do while my dad just gets home at the end of the day and literally complains about everything, like how the carpet isn't clean or how the food is cold. As a result, I've had to listen to a huge argument daily between him and mom. It's exhausting, but honestly, I think my dad is in the wrong here. I've tried talking to him to get him to see how his behavior is, but to no avail. So what I did is pick a day off for him and pretend to act like him. I put together an outfit that looked like a suit and put black tape over my lips to look like a mustache. At 6 p.m., I went inside the house, shouted, "I'm home!" Then sat next to him in the living room and started kicking my shoes while complaining about the state of the house at the top of my lungs. He glanced at me confused, asking what I was doing. I ignored him, that started yelling about the carpet being dirty, shower not ready, the kids needing to be quiet, and so on. He kept staring while my mom and siblings laughed. My youngest brother kept pointing towards me saying, "This is Daddy." I then proceeded to yell about dinner and berated my mom for not preparing it in time. My dad stopped me and in a serious tone asked what I was doing. I turned to him and said, "What? Can't a man effing rest after working long hours?" In the most macho voice I could muster. My dad got the hint because this is the most common phrase he uses daily. He went quiet and avoided looking at me. I stopped the act and told him I was trying to show him what he's like every day when he comes home from work. He said nothing, just went outside and refused to speak to me. Later, he went on about how I mocked and invalidated him. Then, that he does hard work and me doing this was disrespectful and invalidating. Mom said it was funny, but also thought I hurt my dad's feelings and I could have gotten the message across some other way instead. Am I the astronaut? We have some helpful comments, but
yes,
first, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't disagree with this approach if we had tried other things first. I mean, I think you've told me before, sometimes pain causes the change. It was kind of disrespectful and invalidating, especially as a 16-year-old girl with her dad. There's stuff he doesn't know, and maybe it's not her place, but she wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
And it probably had a pretty damn big impact. She probably needs to apologize and expect to see some changes, because I'm sure that killed the man. And for stuff he didn't realize he was doing or had just let it slip into that no one had checked him on it. I think a better approach could have been taken.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I think him getting offended that something was mocking and invalidating is ultra hypocritical.
Yeah.
Because when he gets home and bitches at everyone every day about shit they're doing wrong, he's mocking and invalidating them. It's certainly invalidating them. And you're right, pain creates change. And seeing how others see you can be an exposing, brutal thing. Yeah, I'm sure it was brutal. I'm sure it hurt. It needed to hurt. And you know what? The truth can hurt sometimes. And knowing how your kids see you especially, there are a lot of things that would make that hurtful. I'm sure there's always going to be things that as parents we can do better. I know there's tons of things that I can do better.
Same.
But having your kids speak up and be like, this is how we see you, I think would be, if anything, an enlightening thing to do. Yes, it's going to be painful.
Yeah.
And yeah, when people get exposed, they're going to react badly about it. But for him to suck it up here and be like, damn, like that sucks. I would expect a better man to apologize to everyone after this and be like,
yes,
I'm sorry, I had no idea that's how you saw me every fucking day. And instead victimizes himself, doesn't take ownership of it. I think this is a cowardly response.
I think you're definitely right when you're looking at the other side of it, she's a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
This is the only way that she could come up with, and she stood up and came up with it.
She risked a lot.
She risked a lot because that could have not gone well.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was a real asshole, she would have been writing this story.
Right. Yeah. That could have gone much, much worse. But yeah, pain creates change. Yeah. I can't imagine if my kids did something like this to me, it would hurt and I would feel hurt. I would probably be pissed at myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If you felt exposed and that somebody was making fun of you and mocking you and invalidating you, maybe for a moment, you'd be offended by them, but pretty quickly that would have to sink in and be like, who do I really have to be mad at here? And it can only be myself. All right, helpful comments. First one, NTA, first off, but I think you have a good chance here. Listen, please. You can acknowledge, hey, Dad, I know that probably did hurt your feelings, and I'm sorry. Of course, you work hard and provide for us, and we appreciate it, but I want you to see that your behavior hurts Mom's feelings. Hurts the family. The fact that he went quiet instead of exploding in anger to me says here that there is hope. Like many dudes his age, he struggles to process those emotions, but he recognized that he was feeling more embarrassed and hurt than angry, it seems. That's a good point. The key is to understand and withhold judgment, to recenter the convo on not just his pain, but everyone's feeling pain and moving forward. That's tough, and you're just a kid. It's not your responsibility to do it. You would be morally justified to say F off, but I always ask, do you want to win or be right? Being right often feels hollow. I hope you win. Good point. I mean, because really the win here is change.
Yeah.
It's not, the win here is not just showing him. The win is creating real change. And if following this up with a softer touch to say, hey, the moral of the story was X, and we all feel pain when you act like that, and we want our family to be happier, that may cause him to take some more introspection from it.
I think realistically, she wouldn't have to. Like, the adult should come to all those things, knowing that she wasn't trying to belittle him. Right. She did to get her point across, to create the change, to get the win. Yeah, she as a 16-year-old girl could come to her dad and have these bonding talks like that. He should come to this on his own, knowing that my daughter sees me as this. Yeah. Everyone sees me as this. I created this pain. I now need to bury that pain and fix it.
Do you feel like this scenario would have played out differently if it was a 8-year-old girl acting this out instead of a 16-year-old girl?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because
he wouldn't have been hurt or embarrassed, because that's mimicking behavior instead of a
mocking
behavior.
Yeah. And I feel there's purity that comes from small children.
Yeah.
Teenagers by default are assholes. So to have this come from a teenager first, like there's always this well, they're just being an asshole kind of thing.
If the youngest would have done it,
it would have come across much more impactful. So I think OP has to deal with that a little bit, and to say, I don't know what the typical relationship is with how OP behaves, but knowing that teenagers can and most of the time are assholes, there is a grain of salt that has to be taken with that too, that probably puts Dad a little bit more on the defensive because it was a teen. But you're right, the fact that he immediately victimized himself instead of owning his actions is tough, and that's not the way it should go at all. And yeah, she can follow this up and try to point it towards a real win, but
it's not her responsibility.
But damn, no, not her responsibility at all. So NTA for you, OP. It sucks.
And hopefully at this point, Dad's NTA as well.
Hopefully
he's come through it. They've come out better.
Yeah, hopefully it created some real change. And hell, I mean, there are times when Candy Thunder is like, look, the whole family can tell that you're stressed. I'm like, I hate hearing that. Not because I hate that she's telling me that. I hate hearing that I'm letting it show. I hate that I'm affecting the family whenever I'm feeling it. And yeah, as an adult, shit gets stressful, and you're going to radiate that sometimes. But
there's habits you develop if you're not mindful and keep that in check. And good partner helps keep that from being you know what, I can just live and wallow in the stress and not think about what other impacts it is. Or it's I'll really tell it's your stress. You're like, damn it. Yes. Okay. Adjust. Be better.
And that's tough to do. Especially when you're still stressed.
Yes.
Right. Like
when you're actually stressed, just calm down.
It's one more thing to stress about. You're like, I have to stress about not stressing other people out while I'm stressed. Okay. Got it. It's not an easy thing to do.
Inception levels of stress.
Yes. It is not an easy thing to do at all. No. And I still don't completely have it figured out. I wear my stress on my sleeve whenever I'm going through stuff, but that's also my fuel. Like that's what I use as fuel to go through stuff. I still am working on a way to not let it affect those around me, to not radiate it out and have it be so visible and apparent that it actually affects the people around me. That's something I still have to work on. It's not an easy thing to do, but the first step here is for him to be like, yeah, I own that. That is me. And it is something I need to work on. Like I just said, it's like, it's something that I need to work on, instead of getting pissed at her for pointing it out to me. You know what I mean?
And they can have those conversations, I think, later on, maybe different ways she could have handled that, but that's secondary.
Yeah.
That's relationship building for father-daughter. That primary is button your shit up.
Yeah.
Button your shit up. She was right. This is you. This is what you're doing to everybody else. Fix your shit.
Yes.
Then we can develop those different teaching moments. This time you're not teaching. You're fixing so you can teach.
Right. Yeah. You need to learn for a moment before you can teach. There always is going to be the question, like, would a more subtle approach have worked?
Maybe.
Would it
not.
have caught your attention?
And I mean, we don't have enough information. Maybe it would have. Maybe. But coming from her, probably not.
Yeah.
Child. 8-year-old. Man, no. Child. Mom would have had to been.
I feel like mom may have pointed it out previously, but she was most of the time the subject of his ire. So
yeah,
he was already pissed at her. You know, he wasn't going to take that seriously. I think it might have took this level of shock to truly catch his attention and to let that sink in, because he had shock, and then when he realized what was actually happening, he went quiet to process. So maybe it took that level of shock.
Maybe it did.
There. It sucks.
Good job,
Adulting
kid.
sucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, being an adult, especially going through a lot of stressful shit, which we all do, trying to figure out how to handle it and not let it affect your family is always difficult. It's not easy. So I get it, Dad. But once someone points it out to you that it is there and super apparent and it's negatively affecting your family, you got to own it.
Well, because that also means that you've lost the ability to self-regulate that and recognize.
Yeah.
You've lost self-awareness to realize that this is not what you wanted to do in the first place.
Right.
At least he didn't take the approach of, F you all, will act however I want.
I'm the breadwinner. I get to be an asshole. That's typically not a great response.
No, not generally.
All right, our final story here
Final story.
is a Best of Redditor update story, and it is titled, I planted my stuffed cheese bread with meat so my vegetarian roommates stop eating my food without asking.
It's petty confetti.
It seems petty confetti, like, yeah. Petty meat confetti.
No.
Originally posted August 9th, 2023. Posted this on the AITA subreddit, and people were telling me this sub would love it, so here it is. As the title says, my roommates are vegetarian, and they still always eat my food. Our lease is almost up, and I'm moving out in a couple of weeks anyway. A couple weeks ago, I got some cheese bread from a pizza place and only had a few pieces. I left the rest in the fridge so I could have it when I got home from work the next day. The next day I get home, grab the box of cheese bread and open it, and they left me one piece. Mind you, I had only eaten a few pieces the previous day, so I had about more than half remaining. I asked if they ate it, and they admitted to it because they were drunk. They always just eat my food if it can fit their vegetarian diet, and they never ask me. Just a few months ago, I bought 10 boxes of mac and cheese because they were on sale, 10 for $10. They
That's a good deal.
8 boxes, and I only had 2.
Oh, no.
That was supposed to be a last resort option for me when I didn't have enough money or didn't feel like making food, and they never once offered me any of my food when they made it. So today I just went ahead and got some pizza, bread, and wings. I already know they're going to eat the pizza and just take the meat off. However, I ended up getting stuffed cheese bread, and I asked if they could put pepperoni inside of it. The restaurant agreed. So now I'm just waiting until my roommates get home, eating my shit without telling me, so I can just enjoy the satisfaction of telling them that they ate meat. Don't eat my food if you're not going to ask. Around and find out. Edit. For those blowing up my DMs wanting an update, they did end up eating the bread, but it was while I was sleeping, so I had no chance to confront them. I'm currently on my way to work. We'll update more tonight at about 9 p.m. Eastern time. Update next day. I just got home from work. Both of them were in the kitchen as I walked through the door, so I figured that's the perfect opportunity to grab the box of my pepperoni stuffed cheese bread. I open the box, and I look at them in the face and just kind of stare at them quietly, looking shocked. One said, "Oh yeah, I ate a piece of your bread last night." So I proceeded to ask my other roommate if they had a piece as well. They also said they had a couple of pieces. I just put my head down a bit and said, "Bro." And the response was, "I'll pay you for it if you want." To which I respond, "I'm not worried about you paying me, but how the fuck did you not realize that there was pepperoni in it?" They both just stare at me and say, "What? You're lying." That's when I pulled apart the bread, revealing the pepperoni. They both looked dumbfounded. Then one of them proceeds to ask me, "Why the fuck didn't you tell us there was meat in it?" And I responded with, "Why the fuck do you eat my food without asking me first? If you would have been thoughtful and asked me, you would have known that there was meat. Next time, don't touch my shit without asking." They're both still just kind of shocked. So I go in the fridge and grab one of their White Claws out of the drawer, and one says, "What happened to not taking shit without asking?" And I just respond with, "Think of it as a reimbursement for always taking my shit." Then I just walked away and went in my room to type this, LOL. One of them said they've been shitting like crazy all day. Around and find out. Okay, so what are your thoughts on this?
Bro, I'll pay you for it if you. And
well, a little late for that.
I like this level of petty because this was not the first, like you cross the line, you cross the line, you cross the line. We've talked. I've tried other things, and all right, well, fine. You know what? Have some pepperoni, vegetarian. It wasn't just like we just thought that was community property. If they'd already had these discussions of, this is my stuff, this is your stuff, I don't like. That's established and worked out.
Was it established?
Well, I'm assuming so because that's cohabitation. That's one of the very first things you got to work on is the food, the responsibilities, that sort of thing.
I don't know that was that might be the bad part here is that he asked if they ate it all these times that they ate it. I don't know that he ever confronted and created that boundary. So by not confronting them about it and asking if they did it when they said yes, not being like, don't fucking do that.
I've got to assume that there's conversations that have been had.
I would assume so too.
Otherwise, we may have gone a little bit too far with that.
Well, that's the kicker. And we don't know. If he did create a boundary and say, don't fucking do that, and they did it, justified.
I will sprinkle the meat fetty with you.
If he didn't, and he only asked if they did it and then didn't confront them or didn't create a boundary, he essentially accepted that they were going to do this.
Yeah.
And created this.
This is acceptable behavior.
It's precedent.
This is precedent. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to continue to do this because I can.
Right. And the precedent there was my shit is community shit.
Right.
And if it was a precedent of this is community shit and he put meat in it knowing that they have dietary restrictions around not eating meat,
right,
he's in the wrong. And I feel like the vegetarians here are going to be like, or a lot of people are going to be like if they have something that medically prevents them from eating meat, this could be really bad.
Right.
But it all hinges on that. If he did create the boundary, he's not the asshole. If he did not,
it's
potentially could be a major asshole. I mean, f around and find out. Don't take other people's shit.
Oh,
However,
yeah, that's definitely, you have to create that boundary. It's the method of which he created it. Did he already create it? And then this was the fine. You know what? Pain will cause change. Or was it, I never told you not to touch my shit.
Yeah.
And now I changed my mind?
I think the precedent says it all.
Yeah.
And maybe
the president, that's going to determine whether asshole or not.
Right.
And what level. I mean, I don't think this is an asshole one unless like someone has a medical reason for not having the pepperoni, but maybe could have handled it differently if we didn't already establish the boundary of don't touch my shit.
I think it does hinge on that.
Yeah.
It's epic petty revenge if the boundary was already established.
Endorsable epic petty revenge.
Yes. If it wasn't,
the established boundary was there.
If it wasn't, then
easy there, Turbo.
Right. If it wasn't, it could be up to and including like poisoning someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's that amount of risk involved. So it's awfully important to set those boundaries ahead of time. And then if they choose to ignore those boundaries, they do it at their own peril.
Yeah.
If it wasn't established and this was how he established it, wait until 2 weeks before he moves out is a little cowardly anyway to create that boundary in the first place.
Yeah. If you're waiting that long to create that boundary.
Yeah.
When Keaton moved up to his apartment with roommates, we had many, many conversations about how to effectively cohabitate.
Yeah.
And that was you have to establish the boundaries. You have to, everyone's got to agree upon where the lines are all there. You don't want to get into I didn't know I had to clean. I thought you were going to clean. And no, establish these things. Cohabitation is hard.
Yep.
And especially when his lease was not up, he had to do it then.
Yeah.
He might have had a year worth of this.
Right.
Without establishing those boundaries in a cohabitation situation becomes a bad situation.
Yeah.
And then you end up, everybody's miserable.
Fucking Wild West.
Yeah.
And everybody's just kind of floating around with no system, no rules, no structure. And cohabitating is great practice for marriage, right? Like you learn, you obviously don't want to treat it when you're in a marriage like the rules.
Don't sleep with your roommates.
Yep, don't do that. You obviously don't want to treat it like a roommate structure when you get married, but learning how to take some responsibility and some ownership in the place that you're living and how to effectively communicate boundaries is great practice for being a grown-up later on in life.
You know, we talk like this and it sounds like we're just so good at this.
We're terrible
in our normal lives.
Yeah, I've noticed I'm really good at giving advice based on what should happen.
Yo, yeah,
not what I do.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do.
I'm still working on. I'm still figuring out every facet.
Being
of life,
a human is hard, man.
It really is. Being an adult is hard.
We're all just learning. We're just making this up as we go.
Yeah.
So you put the best practices you can and give good advice and hope you follow your own good advice.
And really, that's it. I think I'm giving myself advice through all this because
these things are definitely going to learn. Like, that situation, I've already thought about that as what I should be doing.
Yeah.
When something similar pops up, you go, hey, you remember? I just told everybody that they should do it this way. Maybe I should also do it that way.
Well, and it makes sense because, you know, our opinions are based on our own unique life experiences. And whenever we hit a situation like this, I see it as based on what I've experienced in my life, based on my journey. Here's what I think.
My journey says I should do this.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. If we ever hit these situations, we now have a precedent to reference and to be like, okay, what happened when, and what did we think should have been done differently? And we can now reference this and say, God forbid we ever encounter one of these crazy, shitty situations. We now have a plan. But seeing all of these at least allows us to build some kind of structure for handling the logic and decisions that come with it.
Is everybody taking notes? You writing this down? Write that down.
Right, yeah. Just be ready. Yeah, you can have this field guide of shitty situations, and whenever shitty stuff happens in your life, just, you know, turn to the applicable page.
This is why Candy likes you doing this and picks out the stories. She's teaching me. She's prepping you for, hey, you know what? I can make him a better human this way.
So was the story about the mistress? Was that a warning shot, or was it her preparing me for her side family that she's going to reveal to me at some point in the future here?
I don't think Candy's got the time or the energy for a side family.
I think you're right.
She's a better human than that.
100%. 100%. And luckily, she knows that I would never do anything stupid like that too, but also knows that every minute of my day is accounted for and scheduled. So
it is.
I don't give myself time to even have the time to think about doing stupid shit.
Neither the time nor the inclination.
Yeah, do it like a Baptist preacher. There you go.
Hey, no, that was. You didn't get that movie?
Where was it?
Jack Nichols. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, here you go.
I have neither the time nor the inclination.
There you go. Okay,
sorry.
I'm with you now.
I mean, we can go Baptist preachers preaching.
I heard it a little bit. It was for a second. I was like, is that the Dead End Friday, the movie? Somebody crack a window. Yeah, I've noticed that there's a correlation between how teenage girls talk when they're being dramatic and how Baptist preachers talk. And it is an extra syllable added to every word. Yeah. Like the word stop becomes 2 syllables. Stop. It's the end. There's an added to the end. Stop. And Baptist preacher.
Preach, brother.
Yeah. I will bring upon you the will of God. It's the There's
it's
an
the at the end.
The added as an extra syllable to the end is like an emphasis that teenage girls have adopted from Baptist preachers now, and now use it to emphasize things. I notice it when a lot of younger girls communicate. They will add that
Add the
yeah. And stop is a very common one. Stop or oh my God. There's this that adds to everything. Yeah. You got to pay attention. Listen for it. You'll start to notice it now. There is that that gets added to things.
Well, your girls are about the only teenage girls I ever see.
Mm. Well, as you see content and stuff out there, just watch, you'll notice it more and more now. And we had the extreme misfortune of having to go to a high school football game last night and getting stuck in a section with all of the all the freshmen around us and listening to this. I heard a lot of it there.
Observational, like you're in the wild out there.
Yeah.
It's crikey, look at that one.
I've never seen so many entitled little shits in one place in my life. Seeing them gathered up like this is quite the treat, really. I've come to find out now that the girls are freshmen in high school. The high school parking lot is my least favorite place on the planet because you have a bunch of little entitled shits in vehicles.
Oh yeah,
who are now driving, who think that it's cool to not follow any kind of system and not pay attention to pedestrians or not realize that their vehicle can actually damage things. And just, it is the wild fucking West.
Yeah, it is.
And I am getting to just this cranky old man phase.
That's one of the reasons why driving, when Keaton started driving in high school, I sent him in that big ass Jeep.
Yeah.
With the big iron bumpers. Yep. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Tank it up. It's not going to hurt it. Go ahead. Run into him.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he better be paying attention because he could just run over a small child. But yeah.
But it's defensive driving at that point.
Yeah, it's defensive driving.
I get so road ragey now when I'm in those parking lots because I'm like, there is no system, there is no logic to anything here.
No, there isn't.
And every one of those little shits is just 100% entitled and will cut in front of you, will cut you off, will speed through the parking lot while pedestrians are trying to cross, and give zero shits. And I'm like, I feel like an old cranky man, but this is my
slow down.
This is my hell. It is absolutely my hell.
So we start to like get more understanding of the older generation. The older we get, like they get off my lawn. There's a poop bag outside. You know that, right?
Yep.
That's exactly it. Like that's why they said get off my lawn.
Yep.
I take a lot of pride in my yard work. I don't want somebody traipsing through there, dog shit. No, get off my lawn. I'm the get off my lawn guy.
I just don't want you to leave turds behind. Like I can't grow anything but weeds. I've learned that a long time ago. I gave up on grass. But don't leave your turds behind.
Don't leave your turds behind.
Be a DFHB, for fuck's sake. So high school parking lots and having to be around them at sporting events and listen to them talk. Especially the girls, listening to the teenage girls judge everyone around them is one of the most disheartening things. Yeah. And our girls are cheerleaders. So inevitably some of these shitty teenage girls start judging the cheerleaders that are on the field. And it takes everything Candy Thunder has not to turn around and be like, listen here, you little shit.
Right.
But we just try to take it with a grain of salt and know that they're learning. They don't know the pains of life yet, but they will. But right now they are the demons in our hell.
Well, and you figure all these little groups that start forming it, why they judge everyone is because they haven't realized that the easiest form of bonding is co-commiseration, but that just stacks upon itself. Well, did you see her? Oh, yeah, I did see her. And all of that just builds on each. And that's what turns people into assholes.
Yep. Well,
thanks for the content, guys. I appreciate the continued assholery creation. You guys are great.
We really, yes, we should just let it ride because we're creating the ecosystem of further asshole stories
as is.
Maybe, but
we don't need to.
We're ensuring job security here by basically, as a society, cranking out like an asshole factory here in high schools.
But you see, like, there's got to be a story out there of someone being in the high school parking lot and just not being able to take it anymore. Like these little entitled little assholes out here. Am I the asshole for laying down spike strips in the high school parking lot?
It's going to be me, man. It's going to be me. Yep. It's going to be, I'm going to be the guy who
I'm giving him ideas.
Ends up on the news for forming some kind of really well thought out protest in the high school parking lot. And yes, spike stripping or EMPing everyone or something, like completely disabling everyone's vehicle and phones and giving them a big speech about life, to which none of them will listen to.
You haven't thought about this at all, have you?
No. No. I just imagine that in my nightmares, I'm doing that and they're all huddled around me just going, stop. I'm becoming such a curmudgeon.
So cringy.
I'm gonna change my handle to Dusty Curmudgeon.
Dusty Curmudgeon. Dusty, you're so mid.
Oh man, I'm getting there. I just don't. I don't know. It all bothers me so much more now.
We're getting old.
I guess losing our filters or losing our patience or losing something. But I have to remember. I'm like every time we start talking like that, I'm like, I know that our parents and grandparents were talking the same way when we were younger,
for sure,
and we turned out great. So these kids will experience some of the real challenges of life and figure their shit out eventually.
Yeah,
and there will be a whole new wave of little assholes in cars to deal with later on. So
I'm sure we were the assholes in the parking lots in the cars.
Oh, sure.
I mean, we can judge them all we want, but we did that.
I have always been a very safe and responsible driver, James.
No, you haven't. I wasn't.
You don't have a Subaru WRX and not have fun every once in a while.
My first car was a 1981 Ford Fairmont 4-door. Nice little tank. I didn't use the parking lot. I drove around the parking lot through the fields.
There you go.
To skip it all. I was the asshole that wasn't even in the damn parking lot.
You were yard farming.
I was yard farming. So yeah, I get it.
That's awesome.
Which is why I made some choices and some teaching moments for my kids when they started driving, because I knew how I was.
Yes. Well, you know what? I do firmly believe that it takes making mistakes to truly learn.
Yeah.
And which is one of the fundamental flaws I think we have as a society whenever we choose our representatives in life. We're getting there. I know it. I realize it. I feel it. But I just, it's tough. It's tough seeing.
But I want to be the cool dad.
I'm beyond that. I'm beyond being the cool dad. Now the funny part is I see the guys who are just concerned about being the cool fun dad, and those are the guys with the most entitled little shits that there are, because they aren't enforcing some kind of a you realize that's a shitty thing to do, right? They're just letting them say and do whatever the hell they want. I'm a curmudgeon. I'm sorry, guys.
You are. It happens.
It does.
I mean, I am too. So it's okay.
This was the Angry Old Man podcast.
Angry Old Man podcast.
Shit.
We should definitely title that right there.
Angry Old Man. Okay, brother. Thank you so much for being here today. It's always a blast to have you on, James.
It's good to see all of y'all.
Okay.
Well, I don't see you. You see me. So thank you for seeing me.
No, we're staring right at them right now, bro. We see you. Beer Today is now in the official rotation. So out of the I think it's like 5-ish people that we have in rotation for podcasts. So you'll be seeing more of him as we cycle through. It's always a good time. You will also see him if you jump on lives as a mod in lives as Beer Today. So you can engage with him there as well. And of course, through comments on all platforms too. But specifically on lives is a really cool place to hang out. And
as often as I can be there.
Yeah. I mean, do you jump on Sunday nights, the multi?
Sundays, I try to hit every one of them. Right. Sundays are generally the easiest unless it's a travel day.
Right.
But I've only got one Sunday travel day scheduled for the rest of the year. So
Wednesday afternoons are more difficult for everybody. It's, for us, it's the middle of the afternoon.
I can generally block out that time. If I'm traveling for work, that becomes a little more difficult because depending on the time zone. Yeah. And
that's another tough part is we have so many people all over the world. So time zones become a big deal. I know Wednesday afternoons are tough for a lot of people in the US because they're still at work, or a lot of them are. So that's why we have the balance of the Sunday night, which was Monday night, now Sunday night, at least during the fall, because we have Monday night football games now, and that gets difficult. So we've got some balance. I hope you can catch one of them and have a chance to engage with Beer Today through chat. And of course, let us know what you think of this podcast. We will have Beer Today back again here in a few months. So let us know what you loved and I would say didn't love, but we don't really want to hear that part. We just want to know what you did like.
Positive feedback.
Yeah. We're only interested in the positive feedback, please. We're going to get a bunch of teenagers on here
writing,
telling us what old curmudgeons we are. We know. We're well aware. Okay.
You think they would have lasted this long if they're going to be that? No.
That's true. They wouldn't still be here. They'd be like, okay, I'm out.
Oh, what are these two guys drabbling about? Jeez. So mid, bro.
Oh, man. We'll catch you on the next Angry Old Men podcast here in a few months. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye.
Bye.